not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Is this not why you're here?
Right here, we need you to hear. Criminy.
It's time for NTV Sports Central with your hosts, Trey Redfield and Darren Winberg.
Welcome into another exciting episode of NTV Sports Central. Unless, of course, you guys have changed the comments, and I have yet to been told. I'm back on again. As you can see, Trey is not. He has not been fired, though. He is not. So we've got Christian Wagner, our NTV Assistant News Director. Plus, he does KFXL Fox. He does sports on that station. Wags, welcome.
I thank you for welcoming me into your humble abode over here, your palatial estate, as it were, the NTV Sports Central studio. Trey, I mean, he's a world traveler. He's a gallivanter about town, and he's either seeing the world via airspace and airplanes, or maybe he's trying to wash that shirt from last year.
Yeah, or something. But he is in Chicago watching baseball, which I do approve that message. Not during district track and field, but I do approve any time you get a chance to go to Wrigley Field.
There you go.
So we talked Husker football last week. This week we're talking Husker volleyball. It was here in Kearney, 5,094 sellout. Wags, the atmosphere was amazing. I know you weren't there, but you had a chance to kind of look at the game and check it out. What were your initial thoughts?
I mean, I'm just impressed with Nebraska volleyball top to bottom. The way the state takes to this team, you saw it. I mean, you were in Minnesota when they had the volleyball day in Nebraska. You had 90-some thousand, 92,003 to be exact, filling up UNK. I mean, it was supposed to be a Kearney High originally, and then they had to move it to UNK because they needed more seats. And quite frankly, they could have tried to find somewhere else to put it, and they would have sold more seats.
Yeah, correct.
I like the spring game or spring match atmosphere where they take it to different towns, give different places a chance to see the ladies up close and to watch them in action. There was no doubt in what they were going to do to Denver, I'm sure. But they looked great. They're playing great. I think they have aspirations for a national championship again. There's no reason why they can't try to make that run. There's some hiccups that we might talk about along the way. But at the moment, I mean, you're in 25th year of John Cook, quarter of a century. And I think he could be there for several more years. But who knows? Maybe he'll win a national title this year and hang it up. But
in 2017 was the last time they were in Kearney.
That's right.
And I actually asked them that question, and I was like, hey, do you see any similarities? Because let's be honest, maybe some coaches and assistants were the only thing similar from that 2017 team to this team. And he said, I sure hope so. So, Coach Cook, he came out, and obviously the coach for Denver, they have a relationship. She coached at Nebraska. So that's how that came to fruition. The atmosphere was great. The best part is seeing after the line an hour and a half of kids wanting to sign autographs. Now, you're telling me you go anywhere in this, I don't care, Texas, they're not lining up an hour and a half to sign autographs.
And speaking of lines, before the match even started, people who already had tickets were in lines roping around buildings and stuff. It's like they didn't need to do that. They could have just showed up, but everybody wants to see this team.
It's the Beatles, and Skylar Pierce, one of the freshmen we're going to talk about, I asked her, what was it like to finally become a Husker? She's like, it's a surreal, out-of-this-body moment. Because coming from all these places, you're being recruited by Nebraska. You don't realize the fan base from Ogallala to Omaha, Ainsworth to Kansas.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Nebraska volleyball, and it showed on Saturday. It wasn't as electric as the Bob, but it was great, and it was a 3-set sweep that anyone who watched or enjoyed definitely had a good time.
I 100% would agree, and the atmosphere would have been a ton of fun. And I'm sure the 5,000 of you that are watching right now probably would have to agree.
Yeah. 5,000 minus 49999.
Hey now.
Just kidding. So let's break down the game a little bit. Obviously, last year everyone was 5 incoming starting freshmen. It was all about that. Now these freshmen have now sophomores, and we have 2 incoming freshmen. Skylar Pierce, she killed it. Hit nearly 400, had some blocks, and really filled in for Harper Murray, who we'll talk about later.
Mm-hmm.
And then Olivia Mauk, who is from Bennington. And Wags, you know a little bit more about her story.
Yeah, she had quite the week. Her family had quite the week. Her home damaged, destroyed by the tornadoes out in the Omaha area, and Bennington specifically. I believe, if I remember correctly, she talked about how this was just a good escape.
Yep.
To be able to hit the volleyball court with the team and to just compartmentalize just for a little while and enjoy the volleyball and not have to, worry about what's next for the house type thing.
And we talk about football gods, talk about sporting gods. I'm going to throw it out there. Her first serve was an ace. So, you know what? It was a great moment for her, and the whole Husker community, Kearney, they enveloped her, and they gave her a rousing ovation. And it just shows that, these kids, they're 19, 18, 19, they're kids, they're freshmen. They're overcoming adversity, and they're going to be leaned on a lot, as Coach Cook has alluded to.
Yeah, they have a lot to lean on. Those freshmen do too, because you have a lot of experience coming back. Granted, there was a little bit of attrition with the transfer portal, but still, you've got a lot of experience coming back from a team that made it all the way to the national championship match.
Yeah, and they are hungry. They were anxious to get back on the court. They got Merritt Beeson, All-American, Lexi Rodriguez, Libero, those two. It's amazing how just when they talk, everyone listens. At the end of the game, they talked for 15 or not 15 minutes, couple minutes, thanking the crowd, thanking Husker Nation, and just everyone. And I was looking at the team, and they were all glued in because they were trying to soak in everything they do, because those two are leaders, and it shows from Merritt transferring in a season ago and being named captain.
Yeah, it's just everybody should have high hopes for this team. That also brings those expectations that they now have to figure out how to live up to.
Yeah, Coach Cook, I was talking to him. I was asking, hey, you guys traveled to Brazil last year. Your mantra is togetherness, and how are you going to be able to do that because you can't travel this year? And he went on to say, it's going to be hard. Everyone's going to play in Team USA. Everyone's going their separate ways. They're going to have to buckle in early, and that's probably going to start first week in July, because that's when everyone returns, and they're going to have to ramp it up. They're not going to have that time last year they had to get to know one another.
Yeah. So that will be a challenge. We also saw the other challenge. I know you alluded to it earlier.
Yeah.
The Harper Murray situation. We won't go too far into that, but if you've been paying attention to the news, she was suspended for the spring match. Connection to the underage DUI from about a month ago, and multiple charges there. That'll have to play itself out. As we're recording this on a Wednesday, she was not in court today as of this taping day, but her attorney was. They had a whole deal. We had coverage of that. She also is being accused of shoplifting, which is a peculiar situation, just because according to the accusation, and this is not all coming from police necessarily, but stuff that's a combination of things, is that she apparently paid for over $300 worth of merchandise, allegedly accused of, and pocketing $70-some of rings.
Yeah.
It was just odd. Again, to move off of this, the more important thing where we're talking about is the volleyball situation.
Sure.
If there's something there, that there's an issue, I know there's concern for her from Husker Nation. Hopefully she can get that help if that is the case, that actually there's something that happened, that she can get stuff straightened out. Now, for the volleyball aspect, where do we go from here? One of the quotes from Coach Cook throughout some of this, especially with the shoplifting thing being brought up and the DUI, he made a comment saying that he hopes that she gets through her finals.
Yeah, let's take a listen and hear what Coach Cook had to say when he was asked directly about Harper Murray's future. Take a listen.
All that, and a lot of that's out of my control right now, so it's in other people's hands. So I really don't know.
What is her status going forward right now?
I don't know. Hopefully she's going to finish her finals. That's the main goal right now.
So yeah, that's exactly what he said. He hopes to get her finals, and that was kind of it. again, he doesn't want to detract from the players he has, and you have to worry about who he's got.
Well, and he's also smart too. I mean, he's been around the game for a long time. He also cares about Harper Murray as a person. So he's not going to go out and just throw her under the bus. And on top of that, it is probably out of his hands.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a university situation at this point, and I'm going to guess while Coach Cook has got a lot of influence, obviously, but at some point he may not have a call to make when it comes to Harper Murray's future. Hopefully, it gets all straightened out and all that stuff. But regardless, that may be above his pay grade.
It might be above his pay grade. Now, from the X's and O's standpoint, freshman Skylar Pierce stepped in. Granted, spring game, let's pump our brakes a little bit. Spring match, rather. But she played exceptional. She could fill into that role. They have, obviously, Lindsey Krause came back from injury. She's obviously not an outside hitter. But Lindsey Krause looked great. Her shoulder, she said she felt great. So there's some tweaks here and there. And Sean Cook's the best coach in volleyball. So he'll figure it out one way or the other.
And granted, they will continue to bring in new talent every single year, but just glancing down at the roster, this is the year they want to do it. I mean, we've got a number of seniors this season, so they want to get this done the way they want to get it done this year.
And honestly, mark your calendars and book for New Orleans. But for Final Four. I'm not saying natty, but I'm saying they're going to get a top seed. They're going to be playing the round of 32, the Sweet 16, and the Elite 8 at home. Maybe not Elite 8, but Sweet 16 at home. So
no, I believe it would be Elite 8, the way that the system was last year.
So, with that being said, they get those home games. The Bob's going to be bumping. Dubs all around. So, get your tickets for... I got to get mine.
I was going to say, I know the guy that would book your trip.
Yeah.
Do I need to put in a note of what kind of hotel you want?
Yeah, we want a five star, just... something in the... I've never checked out New Orleans. It'd be nice. So, we're going to kind of put a bow on that. We'll obviously come back to that as this summer comes along and we're fishing for content. But you know what? This is the greatest podcast you'll see. But we also have another podcast that Waggaroonies is doing.
So, I'm not sure exactly what week we will debut this, but at the moment the name tentatively is Inside NTV. The idea is going to be me talking to the members of the NTV team, and hopefully that'll include Darren here at some point. I want people at home to get to know the folks we work with here at the TV station, both on camera and off camera, because you know who Dave and Colleen and Sarah and Tim and all that stuff are, and Darren. But
no one knows
but you don't know everything about them, so we're going to dig a little deeper into that, figure out where they came from, what their favorite this is or favorite that is. If you have questions that you want me to ask, because I'm the one going to have to do that, let us know. Put it in the comments of this particular video. I'll go search that later. We're also going to talk to the people off camera, the people behind the scenes, the directors, the camera ops, the editors that you don't know, so that you get to know that. And the reason I went forward with this idea is I grew up watching news in the morning as a kid and in the evening with my parents. I'm one of those news dorks that was either watching the morning news or Sports Center.
L7 Weenie.
There you go. and
Just kidding.
So to me, and maybe, I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but it's probably why I'm in the business, is when I grew up, the reporters and anchors on TV to me were celebrities.
Yeah.
Darren's a celebrity. So I want to know more about them, and I think it's neat, and I want to see where we can go. I know this week, I believe the first episode, once we get it going, is going to be Steve White.
Oh, wow.
Just a spoiler there.
That's going to be off the chart. People are going to be tuning in for that thing.
So that is something that I'm looking forward to, and we'll bring you on the YouTube channel, and we'll figure out if we can get some audio versions of that so you can download it as well. However, we do have one other thing we want to share.
Yes, we do. So we've talked volleyball, and we're still trying to figure out the landscape of this, but we're definitely keeping it Husker Central, and then we're going to loop back here. Husker football. We talked about the spring game last week. We're all excited for Husker football. There's also a little caveat that Wags, I'm going to send it your way, and you take it over.
So
I'm not going to steal your thunder.
So we had some news last week. The College Football Playoff Selection Committee adding a new member. Husker fans are probably familiar with this name. Mike Riley will now be one of the men and women slated to pick who will be the 12 teams essentially in the playoffs, seed them, get all that stuff together. And I was lucky enough to get a chance to chat with Coach Mike Riley this week, and here's that interview. A former Husker head football coach could once again have a hand in the fate of the Big Red's postseason chances. I'm excited to be joined now by Mike Riley, all the way out in Corvallis, Oregon. Mike, thank you for joining us today and giving us a few minutes of your time.
You are welcome. I'm glad to be on with you and excited about this opportunity.
Tell us about that news, Coach, that you are the newest member of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee.
Well, as of just not very long, a few days ago, I wasn't anticipating this at all. It was really a call out of the blue from Bill Hancock with the committee and offered me the opportunity and given me a couple days to figure it out. And, I visited with some family and just decided that this would be just a great thing to do. I've been involved in football, Chris, for so long that, this just gives me another opportunity to be involved in a little different way.
What responsibilities will your new role include come the fall? I know you just got the job here just a couple days ago.
Yeah, I know it, I really don't know. I've heard from some former committee members, and I've responded to them via text that I would love to talk to them and get some insight about how this all works, how it worked for them, and so I'm really anticipating right now just learning more about it. And the process that we'll go through. We do have orientation meetings in the summertime prior to the season getting going, and then we will, once the season starts, Chris, then we will probably about halfway in, start meeting once a week in Dallas and begin ranking the teams, and then it's a process right through to the playoff selection.
It's going to be a big one with the 12-team playoffs starting this year. And I know, looking at the roster that you'll be joining, I believe Will Shields, a former Husker player, was also going to be on there with you.
I was excited to see that Will was on there. That is great. They have a pretty diverse group on the committee. I think there's athletic directors, former coaches, former players, journalists. I think it will be very, very interesting. I'm looking forward to obviously doing the work that is required, but also getting to work with the other members of the committee.
Since your time at Nebraska ended, Mike, you spent some time in San Antonio in the AAF, as well as the head coach for the USFL's New Jersey Generals, and I believe you were Coach of the Year, if I remember correctly, right?
Right. Yes, the inaugural year. Exactly right.
How is life right now for you, Mike? How's everything going out your way?
Well, they had a merger, as you probably have heard, between the XFL and the USFL and formed the United Football League, and I really actually thought it was a good idea. I think for the survival of spring football, whatever they need to do to make it keep working. However, 8 of the teams did not survive. Those teams that were really not based in their home cities. Like we were the New Jersey Generals, and we played 1 year in Birmingham and 1 year in Canton, Ohio. So we didn't make the cut. So I had a void there for a little bit. But right now my life is full with family here in Oregon, and I was able to go to a number of Oregon State spring practices, went to the spring game down at the University of Oregon. And my grandson is usually my partner going to these different events like this. And then I'm being a granddaddy. I'm the chauffeur around town when they need a ride. And I go to track meets and soccer games. And actually right now I'm totally involved in NBA playoffs. I love this time of year, always have. I just think the competition is awesome and they're fun to watch.
Who you got winning it all in the NBA Finals?
Well, I've liked the Nuggets, I've liked the Mavs, but there's some new kids on the block now. Minnesota and Oklahoma City are really, really good teams, and I'm not even talking about how the Celtics year went, because they had the best record in basketball and they appear real strong. So I imagine they're the favorites, but I sure like those two teams, Minnesota and Oklahoma City. I think that they've got really good talent and playing really well.
Get you out there as an NBA analyst in your downtime. Why, that could be an extra job for you.
I watch it pretty closely. I like it. Sports are fun, and I've just been so thankful. I coached 48 years and just have loved the involvement all around it, and even I loved when I was at Nebraska. It was very easy for me to go to basketball games and baseball games and softball games, and I really enjoyed it. Really enjoy sports. Really have appreciated, thankful for being involved, and with this new deal, I'm anxious to stay involved in it.
A quick story before I let you go. You've interacted, of course, with thousands of players over the years, but back in 2017, I believe, you and your staff at Nebraska were recruiting a young man by the name of Phelan Sanford from Benkelman, Nebraska. Things changed, of course. He went to Hastings College. After some encouragement from one of his mentors, he met with Scott Frost, who succeeded you. He won a spot as a walk-on then, and then earned some scholarships. And after one season with Matt Rule, he just signed about 1 week ago, signed an undrafted free agent contract with the Las Vegas Raiders. Young man, I know you've had a lot of stories like that for you, but what does it feel like to know that a guy that you looked at some point when they played high school, now they're getting a shot at the NFL?
Well, I think that those obviously are really, really fun. Those kinds of stories are wonderful, and it takes some stuff. It takes being given the opportunity. It takes talent, and then it takes a lot of perseverance and hard work. So I get it. That's a beautiful story, and congratulations to him. And it's really fun to see these kids grow, and I'm just most thankful for all my time getting to coach a team and getting to have players.
Absolutely. Mike Riley, all the way out in Corvallis, Oregon, a legend of the campus of Oregon State, 2 stints out there. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about life and talking about your new gig.
Appreciate that, Chris. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah, Darren, talking to Coach Riley was a lot of fun. Super nice guy. Share a little quick behind-the-scenes moment. While our director, Kendra, was doing some mic checks with me, she was referring to me as Wags. Yeah. Because that's my nickname. And I go to talk to Coach Riley as a mic check to make sure that he can hear me and I can hear him. And he goes, "Do you want me to call you Chris, Wags, or Christian?" And after talking to him, I'm pretty sure if I'd have said Wags, he would have done it. But I told him, I said, "Look, just call me whatever you want except late for dinner." And nice. Super nice guy. You can think of him what you want as far as a coach. But as I said in the video, he's definitely a legend in Oregon State, for sure. In Nebraska, obviously didn't end the way he probably would have liked. But he's been a professional coach in 5 different organizations, different leagues, NFL, CFL, can I name them all? AAF, UFL, and the WFAL. That one doesn't exist anymore. Mazel tov, hey! And so super impressive guy. Hopefully I get to catch up with him again for something else. I wanted to talk about his wife, but we didn't get a chance to go into that. She has some health concerns that's kind of become headline stuff out that direction. But he's playing grandpa right now and enjoying life, so good for Coach. So when the Huskers go 9-3 or 10-2, you can make the call to Mike and say, "Hey, let's swing it our way there. 402-308, they need some help." Exactly. Well, Wags, I appreciate you stepping in. Trey, you got some competition? Or maybe I got some competition. Maybe I step out and let those two. No, we need Trey. See, now, I thought not only was Trey gone, but the reason why you flagged me down to do this is because you wanted somebody that dressed like naturally. So now we need Trey to trade in the T-shirt that he's comfortable in, and he needs to go get himself a polo, get himself. He needs to wash his shirt. Let's throw it out there. There's that. He's gonna watch this, and he's gonna come back. I hope so. Love you, Travion. All right, hey, thanks for tuning in. We're gonna have a great episode next week, Wags, for NTV Sports Central. Peace.